Welcome back, dear students. So this is the third session of module 4, that is Java database connectivity, JDBC. The agenda for the this specific session will be like this. We'll be trying to discuss about the JDBC process, Java database connectivity process, and what are the steps to be followed. These are the standard steps to be followed in order to do the JDBC process. How do you load the driver, and how do you register your driver, and how do you connect, and how do you send your queries from Java program, and once the DBMS sends the results after executing the query, how do you process the results, and what are the library functions in order to perform all these activities. So that we'll be trying to discuss in detail with the programming examples. And this is for this particular session, this is what the agenda that is fixed, and we'll keep moving on to the further processes of it. And with respect to examination point of, which is the most important question, JDBC explain or illustrate the JDBC process with the examples with the pseudocodes, usually a 10 marks question. So we'll share the screen and I will start presenting the contents. Yeah. Steps to connect Java application to JDBC using JDBC API. So these are the standard steps to be followed. The standard steps will be like this. First, you have to register your driver class for the database that you are using, where you store your data. For that, a driver will be there. So that driver will be defined in the form of a driver class. So that driver class should be registered to your Java application that you are writing. Once that driver is registered, then you can refer to that driver and you can make a connection. So in order to send your queries and in order to receive the results from the database management software, you should have a proper communication or a path of interaction, and that path of interaction should be done over the connection. So you should create a connection. Once the connection is ready, what you can do is you can create a statement. Once the connection is ready, someone should be there to carry your queries to the database, and database will send the results, and in order to bring the results from your DBMS to your Java program, and some entities are required. So carrier of your queries will be in the form of statements. We call it as, technically we call it as a statement objects. So you are supposed to create the statements, creating statements. After that, once you send the queries and once you execute it, you will get the results, and those results need to be processed. And for that, executing the queries, and after that we need to execute query and process it. And this is what the fourth step to be followed. And the last step is closing the connection. Whatever the connection that you have created here, it should be closed. So quick overview, these 5 steps always you must remember. The first one, register the driver class, then creating a connection, creating a statement, creating statement object, then executing queries, then closing the connection. So these are the very important steps to be remembered in order to understand the complete JDBC process. Now, so load the register to the database driver, create connection, and create and execute the statements. The same steps it is listed, and execute the queries and process the results and close the connection. First, how do you load your JDBC driver or register the driver class to your Java program? So it will be done using a class.forName method. So don't think that a class is nothing but the regular class what you define for writing your programs and developing the logic by defining the main method inside it. It is not so. So class with the C caps, which is a built-in static class in the Java library. Using this, we can make a call to the forName method. So class.forName, it is used to load the JDBC driver. And the method will be like this. forName, as I told, forName is a static method which is defined in the class called class itself with the C caps, and it is a public you can call, and the argument required for this is a name of the driver class that is to be used in order to refer to the driver, and always it throws the exception called class not found exception. Why this compulsory exception is defined? Suppose if you are trying to register a class, if that class itself, if the driver itself it is not there, or if a class is missing and if the application is missing, which leads to the runtime errors. In order to handle those runtime errors, so exceptions are defined for these library functions, and the nature of the exception defined is a class not found exception. If the class is not available, which throws the exception, and you must handle this exception. So how do you use this in the code? With the example, of course, we are consolidating all these 5 steps together in order to do the database transactions or database operations. We are combining together and we are writing the program at the end of the 5 steps. So, but we should have a proper understanding of these steps one by one. So, class, built-in class it is C caps class.forName. As a forName is a static method, you can use the class name, that is capital C class, and for all the operations that we are discussing uh, for this module 4, it is purely based on the Oracle database, Oracle DBMS software that we are using in order to store our database tables. And this driver class will be defined by the Oracle database product developers. They will define a driver class. The name of the driver class will be Oracle driver, O caps, D caps, and in order to access this, in order to load this driver class, Oracle, this is a complete package name, oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver, O caps, D caps. So on a successful loading of this driver class, next you can create a connection. That is the second step. So in order to create the connection, now you have a reference for the driver class now. Once it is registered or once it is loaded, we call it as either loading the JDBC driver or we call it as a registering the driver class. Once you are able to register this, you can make a connection. You can create a connection using driver manager.get connection method. So driver manager is a class which is used as which is used to establish the connection with the database. So in one of the previous slides, we mentioned about the driver manager here, the architecture. Yeah. So JDBC driver manager. So this built-in class we are using the driver manager.get connection. So JDBC API, which is the loading the JDBC driver. The next one is creating a connection can be done through this JDBC driver manager. Now, the syntax of this driver manager dot get connection. This is also a static method. This static method takes the string URL. That is, there are two overloaded versions of this get connection method. One is that takes only the URL, and the other one is that takes URL and string URL and name of the database and username of the database and the password of it. So most of the developers, they prefer to go for the second option, where the database tables are kept as a secured access, which has a secured access, which is supposed to give the name and the password of that database in order to connect with that. And remember, so while making the call to the get connection method, you should use the driver manager class, driver manager dot get connection. Driver manager is a built-in class. In that, static method is defined as a get connection in order to return the connection in the form of a connection method. So we are referring this second version of the get connection method for most of the examples. So that takes first one is the URL. We'll be discussing what is this URL about, and what is the name of the DBMS, that is login name, and the password of the DBMS. It is mandatory to throw the SQL exception. It is included as a part of the library function that is defined over here. The reason is very simple. If you are creating a connection, if the connection is failed, the creation of the connection gets failed, and always it should report an error, because without a connection you cannot send your queries to the database. So if the connection itself gets failed, you cannot proceed with the next steps. That's what the whole idea is. So always it throws the SQL exception. How do you use example connection, which is a connection object, connection reference variable. So driver manager is a built-in class dot get connection of URL, user ID of the DBMS, and the password of the database. First, as the DBMS is a secure one, and you should have credentials in order to log in order to send somebody and get the data from the table stored in the DBMS. So for that, you should have a username and a password. Get it and give it to the connection. It should be a type connection. It returns the connection object. Always remember, return value of the get connection return. It returns the connection object. Example, driver manager dot get connection of. This is the URL, username of the database, and password is a tiger. This is a standard username and password for most of the databases, Spot and Tiger. And this URL has many components. So you get confused about what is this JDBC Oracle thing, and at my host and 1521. What is this URL? Who are the all that? Will be nothing to worry. We'll be exploring these components one by one once we proceed. Okay. As I told, it encapsulates a single connection to a particular database in the form of JDBC in order to handle the JDBC communication or JDBC calls. And the first one is a URL, second one is a username, and the third one is a password. Now, we'll see what is that URL is all about. We mentioned the first part. This is JDBC Oracle theme. So here, the first component of your URL is that is the specification of the driver. Here, JDBC is a protocol, Java Database Connectivity Protocol, and the sub protocol is from your end it is a Java program, and from the other end it is a Oracle, and sub protocol name is, you should mention here, that is a thin. That word thin will be defined by the DBMS product developers. So for the database that I'm using and I'm illustrating in the further sessions, which is a thin driver. So you must use JDBC Oracle thin driver, and that is defined as a database identifier, which means you should specify the IP address of that database that you are going to connect. And if it is a local host, you can specify the local host. You can see here at my host. At my host, you can specify. And if it is a server, is a remote server, and you can specify the IP address of it. Then followed by what is this 1521? Of course, for any, as I mentioned, when this is in the type 4 driver, the communication will happen only with the sockets. So the socket number or a port number, which is 1521. And in case of Oracle database, there are two types of drivers will come. One is ORCL and another one is XE, that is Express Edition. ORCL and Express Edition or XE. Only two options will come here, either XE or ORCL. So for a couple of the examples demonstrating, it will be XE will be used, and that you can make out very easily. We'll show and further steps. What is that XE and ORCL? Hope this URL description is understandable. We'll move on to the further components of it. JDBC driver protocol and a subprotocol at site, that is where exactly we are looking, and then port number and a database, whether it is ORC database or Express Edition database. So once you are done with this, the same example, JDBC Oracle. This is a standard word. You not to change every time. Java database connectivity, Oracle thin at localhost means I'm running the Java application and the DBMS, both are in the same system. So we'll call it as a localhost. And if a database server that you are running, if it is a remote server, and you can specify the IP address of that server by using the symbol at followed by the IP address like this. So if it is the same system, use a localhost. If it is a remote, get the IP address and specify here. And we should know about the service name and the port number. So how do you get these details? So you can get these details like this. You can open the Oracle settings in the admin block, network admin. You can open. There is a file called tnsnames.ora. Otherwise, instead of admin, so click on your file explorer and search for this file tnsnames.ora. It is Oracle. So .ora file, once you get it in Windows in the installation directory of your Oracle database, there you can search for this file called tnsnames.ora or ORA, and you'll get the file. Once you open that file, you'll get these details. ORCL is equal to this many things. These are internal things. And here the port number will be defined. This 1521 you have to take it in your Java program. Now coming to the service name, which is a ORCL. If it is a the DBMS software that you are using, if it is a Express Edition, then here XE will be there. Otherwise, it will be a Oracle Edition, that is a ORCL. In this example, ORCL and 1521. Of course, most frequently for all the examples that we are using, we will go with this URL with the port number and the driver type. JDBC Oracle pin at so and so, this IP address 1521 is the port number and all. So this is a complete details of the URL that we are using, and followed by the second argument. Remember, your driver manager get connection method has three arguments. First one is the URL. So in the URL, there are number of components out there. One is protocol, subprotocol, nature of the driver, and the server IP address, so that is a local or a remote, followed by a port number and type of a driver. So that is a Oracle driver or it is a Express Edition driver. So this is the details of the second step, that is creating the connection. Driver manager get connection. That is the connection outlet. Always driver manager.getConnection method has three arguments. First one is a URL, second one is a username of the DBMS, and the third one is a password for it, and driver URL details that we discussed in detail. So have to quick look at the couple of questions on the form of a quiz. Which one of the following statements is used to register the positive answers are given here? That's fine. This is just to explore the possible ways of putting things in the form of questions. Which one of the following statements is used to register the JDBC driver? Class.forName, of course here F is caps, so it is invalid. Here C caps, class.forName, Oracle JDBC Driver, Oracle Driver. This is correct. And the third one is class.forName, N should be caps, and here C should be caps, which is incorrect. C caps and N is also caps, but invalid F is caps here, which is invalid. The next one is syntax for creating a connection. Connection.getConnection wrong, because getConnection method can be called only by the driver manager. Next, connection, this is also similar, so this is also invalid. Driver manager dot create connection, which is not known to us. So driver manager dot get connection is URL, username, and password. This is the correct answer for the second. Next one is creating the statement object. Creating the statement object, that will do it with the next session. So remember, there are 5 steps. The first one is loading the JDBC driver. Second one is creating a connection. The first one is registering the JDBC driver by using the class.forName. And second one is creating a connection by using the driver manager.getConnection method. And the third one is creating the statement objects. Third one is executing query and processing the results. And the last step is closing the connection. So I have finished with the 2 steps, and the remaining 3 steps we'll try to do it with in the next session. So again, in the next video, I will recall the steps, and I will start with this specific slide, creating the statement object. Thank you.